Welcome everyone, and good morning to ACJM News. Today we are going to be going over many things that have happened a while back. Our topics are as follows: battles such as Battle of Lexington, Bunker Hill, Saratoga, Yorktown, Chelsea's Creek, and Battle of Quebec. Those are some of the most important battles, and we have some breaking news on those. We will now switch to Sierra for the information.
Hello everyone, it's Sierra, here today with your news. In the Battle of Lexington, John Parker and his fellow leaders James Barrett, John Buttrick, John Robinson, William Heath, Joseph Warren, and Isaac Davis led their men to Lexington, where the British men Francis Smith, John Pitcairn, and Hugh Percy, when they heard word that the British were coming to look for the American weapons to take them. The Americans were defeated in the first battle part in Lexington from lack of men and inexperience. After they retreated, they heard again that the British were moving toward Concord, and they attacked them by surprise and beat the British. Now back to Jordan in the studio for more about the Battle of Bunker Hill.
Thank you, Sierra. So the next battle was a reverse of the Americans' attack. Americans made a camp at the top of a hill called Breed's Hill, so that way they would be able to see the British coming. The British finally came and ended up beating the Americans. Most of the same men who led the British and American sides were the same, which is why it was a shocking outcome. The British were not very successful throughout the rest of the war. The next battle, and one of the last the British won throughout this war, was the Battle of Quebec and the first half of the Battle of Saratoga. The Battle of Saratoga was an 18-day battle that was split into two parts. The British marched into colonial areas to start a battle, and the British won the first part but then surrendered to the Americans in the second part. Now to Sierra again for more news about the other few American victories.
I'm back again, everyone, and this time I am here with some information about the American victories. In the Battle of Yorktown, Charles Cornwallis, Charles O'Hara, and Thomas Simons were attacked by the Continental Army, led by George Washington and Comte de Romainbeau, to begin another battle. The Americans were not doing the best, so they called for backup from the French, and the French helped them win. Here I have George Washington himself to talk about it right now. George?
Hello, well thank you for having me on here today. So the Congress ordered me to attack the British at their camp with about 17,000 of my men. We were not doing very well. Our strategy was not working well, and our men were going down by one. We needed help. It took time to get the word out that we needed help, and I was getting nervous, but I could not show my men. Finally, my acquaintance, Comte de Romainbeau, brought his men, and we ended up defeating the British. We were lucky, and I'm grateful for him being there to help them in time.
Thank you, George, for that insight, and we appreciate you sharing your experience with us here today. Now that we have gone through the Battle of Yorktown, the last battle is the Battle of Chelsea's Creek. Joan Stark and Israel Putnam fought Captain William D. Laplace and Sir Guy Charlton in the islands of Boston Harbor on salt marshes and mudflats. It was a dirty battle, and the Americans had a flat-out defeat against the British, and it was the first naval engagement of the Revolutionary War. That is all the time for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with me, and I will be back tomorrow for more news. Back to Jordan.
Thank you, Sierra. See you tomorrow. Well, thank you for tuning in today on ACJM News. We will be back tomorrow for more. Good night, everybody.
Okay, so I'm going to